Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Minnesota.
The sun is peeking through, and it is starting to feel like baseball weather here at Target Field as we get set for Game 2 of this weekend series between the Twins and the Orioles. Nelson Cruz provided the power last night for Baltimore, a 2-run blast for his 8th home run of the season, and fitting in fine with his new team. Wei-Yin Chen will go for the O's today, the lefty off to a good start, while Kevin Correa tries to pick up his first win of the season after a rocky first month with the Minnesota Twins. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome inside Target Field. I'm Jamie Hirsch as we get closer to first pitch between the Twins and the Orioles. Well, for the second time in as many days, the Twins have made a roster move due to injury. This time it's Mike Pelfrey going on the disabled list after he suffered a groin injury in the first inning of his last start. The Twins have called up shortstop Danny Santana to give Ron Gardenhire some flexibility on the bench. And Samuel DeDuno will take Pelfrey's place in the rotation and start on Tuesday. But you can tell Pelfrey was really frustrated after his last start. And as for Gardy, well, now he's just happy to have another bench player to work with.
It's terrible. Can't. Same stuff, I think, the not locating your fastball and leaving pitches over the middle and walking guys. And the same crap now for 5 starts. I mean, it's terrible. I mean, you know, I'm sure the coaching staff and Gardy, I'm sure they're probably frustrated, but, you know, I'm probably more frustrated than anybody, you know. I'm a lot better than this, and it's pretty bad.
We just needed a body, and he was on the roster, and we liked him in spring training. He can run. He can play some outfield. He's going to go out there and take some fly balls in the outfield and in the infield right now. A live body, and he moves around really well. So, like I said, I use him infield, outfield, whatever. We'll figure out a way to get him in there.
Still to come before first pitch, Dick and Bert will discuss Ricky Nolasco being just what the doctor ordered for the Twins rotation. More on his complete game next.
Minnesota Twins baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. And by Jeep. Visit Jeep.com to learn more. Time for the Minnesota Twins to win a ball game. They've got a 4-game home losing streak. They hope to win Game 2 with the Baltimore Orioles. They hope to score some runs against Wei-Yin Chen. The Baltimore lefty will make the start for the Orioles. And the Twins will counter with right-hander Kevin Correa, still looking for his first win of 2014. Hey, it's a good afternoon here at the ballpark. Dick and Bert with you for the second game with the Baltimore Orioles. Given the last 3 years, there's no such thing as good losses, but a silver lining perhaps last night in being shut out by the Baltimore Orioles because Ricky Nolasco pitched a complete game.
One thing that you can control as a pitcher, and that's how deep you go into the ball game. Nolasco in his first complete game in a while, but you know, even though he lost 3-0, he picked up a lot of guys that were overused a little bit in that bullpen because of the doubleheader the Twins had against the Dodgers. So good for Nolasco. And here this afternoon, hopefully Kevin Correa can do the same thing. Let's take a look at our Mall of America scouting report on Kevin Correa. Follow the leader. Maybe he can do what Nolasco did last night. Looking for his first win since September 1st. 0-6 over his last 9 starts at this level. And controlling the strike zone has been his issue. And usually he's a strike thrower, but at times we've seen him all over the place. He needs to stay away from that multi-run inning.
One of the big issues in this homestand, the team's inability to score runs. They were shut out last night. We'll hope for a big day at the plate for the Twins this afternoon.
We eat well. We actually get paid to play baseball. Are you kidding me? Nobody wants to hear it. You know, I don't have to play. And one thing young guys do, they have the ability, they can sleep.
I hope they're not used to it. I hope they're worn out. They have a very good baseball team with a lot of really good hitters. Some big boys up there that can drive a baseball. They're a veteran group, and we're going to have to be very good.
And the Twins didn't score a run last night. It was a decent ball game, a quick ball game. And Kevin Correa will hope to follow suit this afternoon, pitching the Twins to his first win of the season. Yeah, Buck Showalter put an end to the violin music. If anybody was thinking of feeling sorry for either the Twins or the Orioles that had a doubleheader on Thursday, that's their job, to play baseball.
Well, you know, I mentioned Buck, also manager of the Yankees, Rangers, and also the Diamondbacks. I forgot the Diamondbacks yesterday.
Here's the Menards batting order for the Orioles. Nick Markakis, Manny Machado, Nelson Cruz, Adam Jones, Steve Clevenger, J.J. Hardy, Steve Pearce, David Lowe, and Jonathan Schoop.
And Kevin Correa making his 6th start of the year for the Twins, his 4th here. He has not pitched as well as he's wanted to here. 0-2 in 3 starts with an ERA over 9. And he's making his 3rd career start against the Orioles. He's 1-1 with an ERA over 5 against the Orioles.
He can get off to a good start if he can get Nick Markakis out. Twins pitchers haven't done a very good job of that over the last couple of years. Markakis has hit .500 against the Twins since the start of the 2012 season. 1-0. High fly hit lazily out to center field.
Good start. 2 pitches, 1 out.
Oakland 4 defense for the Twins. Jason Kubel is in left. Sam Fuld made a great catch in the first inning last night. Chris Colabello back in right. Kloof, Florimon, Dozier, Mauer the infielders, and Suzuki back behind the plate. Had a chance to talk to the umpiring crew. You and I both did this morning. Jeff Nelson back home in the Twin Cities. He's got the plate. Manny Machado hit the drive to center field that Fuld turned into an out.
And Machado just playing in his 3rd game since being activated off the disabled list. Recovered at the beginning of the year from left knee surgery he had back in October of last year.
1-1.
You know, Correa, you look at his numbers, 8 walks in 27 innings, not bad, and he's a strike thrower, but I think what we've seen is the inconsistency of those strikes. He's kind of all over the place, and he and Kurt Suzuki, as we watch here this afternoon, when Suzuki moves away like this, hopefully he can hit that spot, and he did that exactly the way that Suzuki where he wanted it. Good pitch.
It's a natural reaction when you say a pitcher has control issues. You look immediately at the walk column. That really hasn't been the problem for Correa.
No, I mean, watch Suzuki right here. He wants it down and away, and look what that pitch is. I mean, if you can do that all day long, Kevin Correa, you're going to pitch a whale of a ball game.
2 down, and Nelson Cruz, the designated hitter, will come to the plate. Twins putting a shift on for Cruz with Dozier lined up behind the second base bag. High, ball 1.
This is a guy with an open stance. We saw his power last night when he hit a home run up in the 3rd deck. This is kind of what he wants to do. He wants to see how far he can hit it. If you go in, you have to go in off the plate. You have to move him back a little bit, and then hopefully that will open up the outer half of the plate. Make him hit the ball the other way, but you have to come in hard.
And now Correa behind in the count, 2-0.
Yeah, last pitch looked a pretty good pitch. This looks like a breaking ball right here. Correa doesn't want to hang it. And so you saw the uppercut swing right there, Cruz. That's all he's thinking. Counts in my favor. I'm going to have that uppercut swing. I want to hit it in the 4th deck. That isn't even here at Target Field.
2-1. Popped up behind second base. Dozier retreating, Fuld coming in, and Dozier makes the catch, and Correa has a quick 1-2-3 first inning. ball club were swept in the 3-game series. Lost a tough ball game last night. The Menards batting order for Game 2 with the Orioles. Brian Dozier leading off. Joe Mauer hitting second. Trevor Blue. Chris Colabello. Jason Kubel, Osmil Pinto, Kurt Suzuki, Sam Fold. And the only change from the starters from yesterday, it'll be Pedro Florimo at short hitting 9th.
Wei-In Chin on the mound for the Orioles, a left-hander from Taiwan. 28-year-old left-hander in his 3rd season with the Baltimore Orioles. 3rd career start against the Twins. Both of his previous starts coming here where he's pitched very well. 2-0 with a 2.25 ERA against the Twins in his young career.
Orioles defense has been pretty good again this year. David Lowe, the former Royal, is in left. Adam Jones, Nick Markakis, Manny Machado, J.J. Hardy, Scope, Pierce, the right side of the infield, Clevenger giving Matt Wieters a break behind the plate. Strike on the outside corner from Wei-In Chen. Twins have struggled to score runs because they haven't drawn many walks in this 4-game skid. They've run into pitchers who have been in the strike zone. Greinke, Aaron. Last night, Jimenez.
And Chen's got pretty good control also.
Inside.
Good fastball inside right there. 7 walks, 1 intentional, and 29 innings pitched. He's not your typical pitcher from Taiwan or Japan that really has a funky delivery. He'll come right at you with a fastball.
This one's down the line, and it's foul by about 2 feet.
Chen coming off his, I think, most solid start. 7 innings in his last start against the Kansas City Royals. Won no decision in that ballgame, but he only gave up a couple runs, a couple walks, 6 strikeouts. That was a season high in strikeouts, is 6. Chen mixes in a fastball. We've already seen a low 90s, a slider, slow curveball, and then a split finger. Signed as a free agent in 2012.
And Dozier pops it up down the right field line. It's chased by Pierce, and it's the right fielder Markakis making the catch, 1 away. Dozier hooking one just foul down the left field line and skying one down the right field line. That'll bring up Joe Mauer.
Chen had a good year in 2012 for the Orioles. They won 12 ball games last year on a disabled list for a while with an oblique strain. He won 7 ball games. And he's already 3-1 here in the month of April, his first May start.
So nice to see the sunshine in Minnesota. Mauer takes a strike. Partly cloudy, 55 degrees. Gradual warming for the next week or so here in the Twin Cities. Twins will leave after the ball game tomorrow, go down to Cleveland, where kind of the same thing will happen at Progressive Field. 1-1.
Good to see everything's warming up finally.
Yep.
And that sun showing his face.
Oh, and we were talking to the umpires this morning. That's what they were saying. Everywhere they've been, it's been cold. Even San Diego and Arlington. Been colder than normal. 2-1 to Mauer. Three and 1, Plouffe on deck.
Not a lot of at-bats. Of course, Chen just making his 3rd career start against the Twins. Joe has faced him before, 2 hits in 5 at-bats.
Now with a lopsided count, the Orioles put a exaggerated infield shift on for Mauer. Pretty much straight up when it was up until this 3-1 pitch. And a strike. And that stands to reason then. If you're going to shift somebody to pull, you better pitch them inside.
Well, you go by the count. Fastball situation, and that pitch called a strike. Joe started to take his little pad off, but still on.
And so Mauer beats the shift. He hit the ball right where Machado was before the count ran to 3-1. And Mauer gets a 1-out single.
To be honest with you, I'm surprised that they would put that type of shift on Joe because he hits so many balls the other way.
Well, look where the target is. It was on the outer half of the plate.
But that's Joe Mauer right there.
Right.
Pitch it away, he'll hit it away.
But that is exactly where Machado was playing for most of the at-bat until the last 2 pitches. Blue full head with Mauer aboard.
Twins need a win here this afternoon. They need to stay away from those long losing streaks.
Lifted to right center field. That might run the gap. Mauer rounding second. On his way to third. Picked up by Jones. They're going to wave Mauer around. And Mauer scores. And a double for Plouffe. Puts the Twins up 1-0.
Well, not wasting any time. Another double for Trevor Plouffe. His 13th of the year. That's the most in the American League. Also, with that RBI, he picks up his 20th of the year. Plouffe had struck out 3 times yesterday before his last at-bat when he hit a double. Got a pitch up and went with it. And you see that ball rolling. Finally, Jones has to slide to get it back in. But Mauer scores from first base.
And now Chris Colabello. Outside, ball 1. It's just nice to see the Twins score first, especially after being shut out last night. Come right away out of the chute in the first inning.
Yeah, they're your leaders in the American League in doubles. Trevor Plouffe right on top.
1-0 to Colabello. Chopper up the line, foul.
Chris has struggled over the last week. Maybe the 3 off days, that the Twins have had with the rainouts and stuff, but he's not attacking that ball and hitting it to right center like he did so well in the first couple 2-3 weeks of April. And of course the scouting report is on him a little bit more. They were going in or half, but they weren't going in very far. Now they seem to go a little bit further inside. Clevenger sitting inside, but the ball out over the plate and called a strike.
1-2.
Talked a little bit about Colabello last night, Dick, about they pitch him a little different. Now he has to make the adjustment.
And he flips it foul. Now, Colabello would tell you that it's been a typical slump for a hitter, not hitting the ball hard, and then when he has, it's been right at somebody. He hit a pretty hard ground ball in his first at bat last night. The game-ending screaming line drive to Gonzalez, so it's a slump, and he'll maybe have to break a bat, get a base hit to break out of it. Down and in, 2-2. You talk to hitters, and it's amazing how one at bat, maybe 2, can either send them one way or the other in terms of getting into or getting out of a slump. 2-2. Fouled away.
And sometimes that one at bat, that little dying quail, sometimes can change that whole perspective on your next at bat, because you finally got that thought out of your mind, that little man that sits in your brain saying, boy, you're not swinging a bat very good. And all of a sudden you get a base hit and he's gone. He just left. I don't know where he went, but he left.
You used to use a French word for those.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was trying to watch my. Can I say it though?
2-2. Let's see if he gets one here.
I was told in the truck, no.
3-2. Full count now to Colabello with Kubel on deck.
Pitch number 20 for Chen.
And a strikeout of Colabello. Fastball near the outside corner. We'll show you what the Orioles did after the count had run 3-1 to Joe Mauer.
Because the count is in Joe's favor, Chen's going to throw him a fastball. They think that Joe's going to pull the ball. And instead, on a 3-2 pitch, he hit it the other way.
And so Mauer ended up scoring on the Plouffe double, 1-0, and Kubel will try to make it 2 or 3-0. The Orioles shift Kubel immediately at the start of this at bat. Foul back.
Ooh, good swing right there.
The 4, 5, and 6 batters for the Twins last night were 0 for 12 with 5 strikeouts, and that's not very good.
You have to credit Jimenez. He pitched outstanding. Season high 10 strikeouts. Only allowed a couple hits.
1 strike to Kubel. And strike 2. Guys hitting in the middle of the lineup. Colabello, Kubel, Pinto, even Plouffe hitting third. The numbers batting average wise and power wise all diminishing over time here. Beginning part of May. In the dirt. Nice block by Clevenger.
Chen here this afternoon making his 61st major league start. 22 wins.
And a breaking ball that shaves the outside corner. Back-to-back hits, one by Mauer, one by Plouffe, and the Twins take the first lead. Inning in today's cold hard facts brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. The Orioles at Target Field have gone 11-5. They've out-hit the Twins, out-pitched them, and so the Twins will try to turn that around here in the next 30 hours or so, hoping to win the last 2 games of this series. Kevin Correa with a 1-0 lead. He'll face the middle of the Baltimore lineup, starting with Adam Jones.
Yeah, good first inning. Only 9 pitches used by Correa, and he gets ahead in the count of Jones. Yeah, Orioles have a good ball club. I mean, up and down. They have some power in their lineup. Jones, career high 33 home runs last year. Also 108 runs batted in, career high. And of course, Chris Davis, on the disabled list right now. He did some damage against the Twins last year, as he did damage to everybody.
1-1 from Correa to Jones. Fouled away. When Buck Showalter took over, the Orioles had some players that were emerging. Markakis was established, but Jones was really emerging. And then over the last couple of years, Chris Davis has surpassed, I think, anyone's expectations. I mean, if the Rangers thought that he would someday hit 53 home runs, they'd have held on to him. Swing and a miss. That gets away from Suzuki, and Jones is going to reach a strikeout on a pitch in the dirt, and a rare one that Suzuki can't corral.
Well, they'll give him a wild pitch, allowing Jones to get the first base. First wild pitch of the year for Kevin Correa. Breaking ball, you see, just to the right of home plate, and then skipped because of the spin of the breaking ball. Got through Suzuki, and Jones on first base.
Steve Clevenger, the catcher, will bat. Just outside, ball one.
Good. Give Wheelers a day off. He's been murdering the ball. This guy's pretty good hitting catcher too, even though 261. Doesn't play a lot because Matt Wheeler's doing most of the catching in his second season with the Orioles.
Low, 2-0. Correa has induced only one ground ball double play this year, given the number of base runners against him. That's a low number. See if he can get one here.
Yeah, he made 31 starts last year. He had 26 double plays turned behind him.
3-0. Hardy on deck.
Clevenger out of the Cubs organization, traded over to the Orioles in July of last year.
And a strike. 3-1. Correa coming off his worst start as a Twin. 2 1/3 innings, 7 earned runs, 8 runs total. Tigers had built a 10-1 lead. Twins came back to make it interesting and then won the next day. That was the start of this homestand, the Correa start against Detroit. There goes Jones. Pitch is called a strike. Throw to second. Not fielded by Florimone.
Well, Jones will get a stolen base, his third of the year, only the 12th for the Orioles. Sometimes infielders, when you get that ball coming, you see it coming. Jones going in hard. He's looking in. Now he slides feet first. You try to catch the ball and tag him at the same time, and that's maybe what happened right here with Florimone. Watch him see him tried to tag his back, but the ball did hit his glove. Didn't get too far away, but Jones at second now with nobody out.
Well, the tying run at second. Full count now to Clevenger. And Suzuki to the mound.
That's the fourth stolen base against Correa in 4 attempts. I sure hope they didn't go what sign they're using with a runner at second, because you're supposed to do that way before the game starts.
And a foul.
That a breaking ball right there. Correa in his second season with the Twins. Last year, 9-game winner, 9-13 in 31 starts. 4.18 ERA, is definitely the best pitcher on the staff last year. Best starter on the staff.
Full count. Changeup. And a swinging strikeout, 1 away. Hardy will hit. Twin single game tickets are available and affordable for every budget this summer at Target Field. Special deals are available for every day of the week, from dollar dogs to student night discounts to specials for entire families. You can check them out at twinsbaseball.com or 1-800-33-TWINS. Hardy, the batter. Strike on the outside corner. Hardy's had the most exposure to Correa. 11 at bats, 4 hits. swing and a foul, 2 strikes.
Hardy in his 4th season with the O's, of course with the Twins in 2010. Had some injuries. 10th major league season. 2-time All-Star.
Up the middle and through. It should tie the game. Fold will charge it. Him up firing. And close play. Good throw by Fold. But Jones scores. The first Oriole hit ties the game at 1.
A breaking ball that left up, and Hardy took it right back up the middle, picking up his 8th RBI. Sam Fold with his speed attacked that ball and made a good throw to Suzuki, but Jones just able to get there before the ball could. See, the breaking ball just stayed right over the plate. Fold, nice pickup, good release toward home plate. And even though it was a little short hop, I think Jones can see that he has that lane able to slide right into home plate.
I'm glad you brought that up because that throw looked like it was right on line. And of course, catchers now are being instructed to get in front of the plate to receive throws. And if it's an on-target throw, it's a completely different play. Now the run would have scored anyway, it looked like, but Suzuki in this case had to position himself in front of the plate to receive the throw. 1 strike. Pierce, the batter. 1-1.
Pierce getting a chance to play some first base. That Chris Davis on a disabled list.
And we mentioned last night it's been an interesting season for Pierce, who was designated for assignment, then released by the Orioles. Popped up behind second base. Dozier out, Fold in, and it'll be Fold with the call and the catch out number 2. That'll bring up David Lowe. Surprised that the Royals traded David Lowe. The Royals acquired Danny Valencia from the Orioles and gave up Lowe, who did awfully well last year generally, specifically against the Twins. He's a doubles machine against the Twins.
And Kevin Correa is 6 for 8 lifetime against Correa.
One and 0.
Yeah, Lowe in 2 seasons with the Royals hit .278. Played in 116 ball games over 2 years.
Nice stop by Dozier. Flips, but his flip pulled Florimon off the bag. And Dozier, aware that Lowe can absolutely fly down the line, knew he had no chance to get the runner at first and did what he could to try to get the force at second.
Tough play right here. Another base hit by Lowe off of Correa. I don't think, you know, where he landed right there, you see the right arm, he had no chance to get that ball and attempt anything else than what Dozier tried to do. So runners at first and second, 2 outs.
And the number 9 batter, Jonathan Scope. Lowe continuing to hit the ball well against the Twins last year. 13 hits, 38 at bats, 5 doubles and a home run. He had .342 against the Twins and slugged .553. And Correa at least held him to a single. 2 hits, a wild pitch on a strikeout, and the Orioles have tied it up. Off the plate, 1-1.
And these are the type of innings that have gotten away from Correa. I know the strikeout wild pitch allowed Jones to get on, then he struck out Clevenger, but then the base hit, the fly out, another infield base hit. Don't mind giving up 1, but stay away from the crooked numbers. So this is a big out right here for Kevin Correa.
Foul ball, 1-2.
Pitching coach like Rick Anderson, you get them prepared, but it's up to the pitcher to go out there and do his thing. Correa making his 196th Major League start.
1-2. Breaking ball, grounded foul.
Even that pitch right there left up. We saw the pitch to J.J. Hardy. That little breaking ball stayed right in that hit zone. You want that just a little bit lower. Maybe you get a ground ball out.
One and two to Scope. Fouled back. He threw one of those in the dirt and struck out Jones, but Jones reached anyway. One of the few times that Suzuki's been unable to block a pitch.
Now, that last pitch was a great pitch, but you have to credit the hitter Scope in just fouling it off to keep the bat going. That was a good pitch. Watch this little breaking ball down and away. It's exactly where you want it. But he's kind of leaning a little bit. See if they go hard inside on Scope.
And they did. Scope got a piece of that too.
Nine pitches in the first. 25 so far here in the second.
There's a slower breaking ball. Suzuki has to throw to first. That wraps up.
Struck out the side.
Two strikeouts, three strikeouts, but an Oriole run thanks to the first strikeout.
Soreness in his hand, so kind of backed off from on-field swinging yet. I think the vibration when the ball hits the bat still gets him pretty good, and it's you got a broken bone in there, a fracture, so you just got to let it heal.
Speaking of Josh Willingham, and when we've had our super slow-mo camera, and we've seen when the bat hits the ball, the vibration that goes through the bat and into the player's hands and arms, I think you can relate to what it must be like if a bone is healing in the hitter's hands. Every time you make contact with a thrown baseball, it must really jar you if the bone is still in the healing process. One strike to Pinto in a tie game. Suzuki and Fuld will follow. 1-1. And Pinto's batting average has plummeted to the low 200s. 2-1. It's not like there are a lot of options, but Ron Gardenhire trying to let the inexperienced players like Colabello and Pinto swing their way through the first slump of the year. Fouled back.
Well, I think the Twins realize that, you know what, I mean, still, I think we talked about it early, Dick. If the Twins can play .500, I think that's a good process of where they've come from over the last 3 years. So you also have to look at Pinto, a future Twin, hopefully for many years. So, yeah, he's going to have his ups and downs. And you have to kind of let him go through it. They did that in '82. And 5 years later, they won the World Series with a handful of, if not 10 guys out of that '82 club that struggled.
Fouled away. And again, the options
you need a direction.
Right. Billy Gardner didn't have a whole lot of options in 1982 when he was managing that club, but he did run Bernansky and Gaetti out there, and all the rest of them. Herbeck, too, struggled at times in his rookie season. Popped up near first. Pierce will cross the line and make a foul ball catch, one away. Bring up Suzuki. Time now for you to tweet your photo using hashtag NorthFanPhoto. A chance to have it shown in a broadcast brought to you by AT&T. Suzuki, the batter. Where the Twins have really struggled here in this homestand was an area that they did very well in on the road, and even in their first homestand, hitting with men in scoring position. But those hits have come so infrequently, and a couple of strikeouts again in the first inning with Suzuki, or with the Plouffe rather, standing at second base after his RBI double.
You're going to go through that. You're going to have your peaks and valleys. Again, you want to stay away from that long losing streak where the Twins have lost 4 in a row now. You want to stop it and hopefully, get a winning streak going.
Fouled back. One and one to Suzuki. And just off the outside corner, 2-1. Drilled to the gap in left center. Lowe is not going to get there, and it one hops over the fence into the bullpen. A ringing ground rule double for Kurt Suzuki.
Second double out of the 3 hits the Twins have been able to get off a Chen. It's a 1-out double for Suzuki, his 5th double of the year. Gets into scoring position with 1 out. That fastball right there. Good swing by Suzuki.
That ball went a long way. Bounced about a third of the way out of the warning track and then over. Sam Fuld will hit. Aaron Hicks still dealing with concussion symptoms. Down and away, ball 1. Fuld will be the center fielder in his absence, and he will be backed up perhaps by the newest Twin, Danny Santana. Can afford to yawn. He had to make it here from Rochester to be available for play. Twins know that he's a shortstop. There's some in the organization who feel like he can handle the outfield well too. They know he can hit. The book on this guy is he's going to be a hitter when he gets up here. It's just a question of what position and whether shortstop is his only position. 1-1. 2-1.
Well, both teams did not take batting practice here, but they did take a little infield. Scotty Alger was hitting Santana some ground balls at short, and then they moved him out to the outfield and center field and hit him some fly balls. There's Scotty Alger, first base coach.
You can understand why in the minor leagues the Twins would want Santana to be exclusively an infielder. 2-1 to Fuld. Foul back. they're trying to develop him as a shortstop. Anytime he spends in center field in a couple of years, when the hope and expectation is that Byron Buxton's going to be in center field, you don't need another center fielder under that scenario. So they're hoping that Santana can tighten things up defensively. Got a great arm, great leg speed. 2-2 to Fold. And another foul.
Opponents came into this ball game hitting .325 against Shen, and left-handers came in hitting .457, 16 hits and 35 at-bats. Joe Mauer got a base hit, but then Justin Kubel, the other left-hander in the lineup, ended up striking out. Right-handers hitting .271 coming into the ball game. Shen's only allowed one home run, that to Alfonso Soriano in New York.
Breaking ball, and it's popped up out of play. Full battling Chen. Fold saying that his collision with the wall in the first inning last night only knocked his breath out. For Hicks, it put him on the disabled list the night before. 2-2. Little fly to left field, almost hit right at David Lowe for the out. Second of the inning.
Well, what a catch it was for Sam Fold, going straight back. Took his eye off the ball and then had to retreat, put his glove up right here, and then banged into the wall very hard, able to keep the ball in his glove, and then got it back in.
Pedro Florimon getting the start. Twins have always felt Florimon had a better swing from the right side of the plate. So he'll get the start here today. Actually, it's just the other way around. They like to swing from the other side of the plate. 1-1.
He's been struggling from both sides of the plate. 3 hits in 24 at-bats as a right-handed hitter, and only 3 hits in 30 at-bats as a left-handed hitter.
1-1.
Bruno's really been working with Florimon to try to speed up his bat. Talking to Tommy about that, they're putting him off the tee, they're doing soft toss to him, just try to speed up his hands a little bit. Bruno spent a lot of time with Florimon, and it's going to take time. Just does he have that much time?
1-2. Tapper to third, and Machado. That's a close play. They just barely got Florimon to end the inning, and Florimon may have stepped on Pierce.
Yep.
And no move from the Twins dugout to challenge what was a very close play for the third out of the second inning. Fox Sports North is presented by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. By Northland Ford. Visit northlandford.com and your local Northland Ford dealers today. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here. Tie ball game at 1 going to the third inning. And before we go along too much further, our sympathies are going out to a good Twins fan who passed away overnight, Jim Oberstar, who served the state of Minnesota in the 8th Congressional District so well for so long. And Jim was a great Twins fan, passed away overnight from Chisholm, Minnesota. And the chances I had to spend with him, I spent a lot of time hearing stories about Moonlight Graham, the real character from Field of Dreams, who doctored in Chisholm. And Jim Oberstar, as a kid, Dr. Graham as his doctor.
Oh, how cool.
So
yeah, our condolences.
Yeah, our sympathies to the Oberstar family and the many friends and relatives he had and has around Twins territory. 3-0 to the leadoff man, Nick Markakis, here in the third. And a strike.
Correa looking for a win. This would be his first win he's able to get here today in 10 starts. 10 starts ago, he won a ball game in Texas last September 1st.
Hard on the ground, smothered by Dozier. He made that look easy. One away. We saw him do that a lot last year. This time, I think this play, I think, is the first time we've seen him go into his slide as part of his fielding motion.
Well, you see, I mean, does such a good job at second base night after night. It's usually, what a great play by Brian Dozier. He works very hard at it. See him slide right there, then pop up, keep that right leg, get some support, get back up and make the out.
One down, that'll bring up Machado. A comebacker to the mound, was retired in the first. This one popped up, being tracked by Mauer, and just out of play.
Yeah, to finish my story on Kevin Correa over his last 9 starts, he is 0-6 with a 5.82 earned run average. And the Twins are just 1-8 in over those 9 starts. So a victory is what Kevin Correa needs.
Over the inside corner, 0-2. In the dirt. Another comebacker, this time on 2 hops. Correa with a lob that looked like it might sail a little bit, but into the glove of Bauer, 2 away.
Well, Brian Dozier, we have seen so many great plays from Brian Dozier. Either to his right, a little flip right there with Gibson covering the bag, off balance throw. You know, it's so nice we show him going left to right, you know, back and first base. But he also makes the routine plays. We're just showing the great plays from left to right. And that's what a good fielder is all about. Yeah, you're going to be flashy left to right, make those plays. But what about the one right at you? And he's done a good job of that.
Playing at a pretty deep position in the American League. You've got Robbie Cano at second base, Dustin Pedroia, Jason Kipnis, who the Indians just put on the disabled list yesterday. So some really good second basemen. Pedroia of the bunch, probably considered to have the best range of those established second basemen.
Isn't it amazing that a guy that's 5'4" can hit 100 home runs?
He got his 100th, was it last night? 100th career home run. And Cruz taps another one foul.
Yeah, he joined Mo Vaughn, David Ortiz, and now Dustin Pedroia. Think of that. I mean, Mo Vaughn, that guy was a monster. Ortiz a monster, and then you have Pedroia that they list him at 5'8", but stand next to him, he's more 5'6".
2 strikes. And like Pedroia, usually by this time of the game, you look at Brian Dozier, and his uniform is dirty. There's grass stains on both pant legs. 2 strikes to Cruz. Breaking ball, and he took it for ball 1.
Cruz, of course, last year handed the 50-game suspension for PEDs. Signed as a free agent with the Orioles. He was looking for a place to play. He's looking at this year, I think, of, I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to be, I'm off that stuff now, and looking for a big contract if he has a solid year. And so far, so good.
Tapper through the shift with Dozier playing behind the second base bag. Cruz taps one into right field for a 2-out single. Partner, we didn't do real well on the trivia question last night. I hate to.
No, you were thinking Papelbon.
Yeah,
I
was thinking, but I didn't say it. So our streak of successful answers
is still intact.
Broken. I'm going to say it's broken at 523 consecutive answers. Since 1961, which Oriole has the most home runs against the Twins?
Well, they've had some good Oriole hitters since '61.
Hall of Famers in there. This one headed up the middle, and Florimon picks it up and decides not to throw. And I'm not sure whether he felt that Jones wasn't going to be retired at first base or whether he was staring right at Nelson Cruz in his line of sight.
Well, it's behind second base right here, and you almost see a collision right there between Florimon, and it's Florimon's play over Dozier's. So Florimon cuts in front, and then maybe didn't get a real good grip on that ball, decides to hold it, and Jones gets down that line very quickly.
A couple of 2-out hits for the Orioles, and now Clevenger with 2 men aboard. Down and away, ball 1.
Let's go.
A couple of weak ground balls, but the Orioles are finding some holes here with 2 gone in the 3rd inning. Fouled away, 1-1.
Clevenger, 28 years old. I mentioned his first at bat coming from the Cubs organization. 8 seasons in the minor leagues, a career .311 hitter. Kind of a backup catcher. Got some pop in his bat.
Off the plate, 2-1.
Kind of nice for Clevenger, too. He was born in Baltimore, Maryland, so got a chance to play in front of family and friends.
Okay.
Fouled away, 2-2.
Well, 9 pitches in the first. Then we saw 26 in the second. And 20 so far here. That's what Ricky Nolasco did such a good job. After 3 innings, he had only thrown 36 pitches. Another reason he was able to go deep into the ball game and go a complete game with 110 pitches.
2-2 to the Oriole catcher. Breaking ball, line to Mauer. And the only well-hit ball of the inning is the 3rd out. The Orioles strand 2. It's still 1 apiece.
Well, a double by Trevor Plouffe in the first inning after Joe Mauer singled, scored Mauer from first base. Twins took a 1-0 lead. And in the second inning, J.J. Hardy with an RBI single up the middle. That scored Adam Jones, who had actually struck out and then went to first base on the wild pitch.
Top of the order for the Twins, Dozier, Mauer, and Plouffe. Dozier with a fly ball to right, his first time up. Inside, ball one. Just a couple innings played here today, but again, no walks. It's been such a big part of this Twins lineup in terms of their run scoring ability. Working the count, drawing walks. 2-0 now to Dozier.
But you mentioned, I mean, Greinke, Harden, guys that don't walk a lot of guys.
And Jimenez last night.
Right. I mean, he averaged over 4 walks per 9 innings in his career, but he was right on last night. He walked only 1.
And while the Orioles arrived here yesterday morning about sunup, Baltimore sent Jimenez ahead at a reasonable time to get a decent night's sleep, and he looked very fresh last night and very sharp. 2-1 to Dozier, and fouled away 2-2. Even before the 2 rain delays and the extra innings in Baltimore, the Orioles thought it worth their while to send their starting pitcher ahead.
Good strike to ball ratio, 33 strikes, 17 balls for a total of 50 for Chen.
Dozier pops it back and out of play. I would imagine in your career that happened from time to time.
Oh, you want me to tell the story, don't you?
I enjoy hearing the story.
Yeah, I shouldn't say who it is, but
wasn't a twin.
No, it was not a twin. I was with a ball club where they did the same thing like they did to.
You were with the Rangers, right?
We were at the Rangers, and we pulled in about 2:30, and a gentleman that was sent ahead to get his good night's sleep met us at the bus.
At 2:30 in the morning?
Yeah. And needless to say, he didn't pitch real well the next day, and we didn't get to do that anymore.
Here's a drive to left field. Dozier lifts it up. Back. Gone off the facing of the second deck. Home run number 8. Solo home run number 8.
Can he not do that with men on? Only the second home run that Chen has allowed on the season, and the Twins take a 2-1 lead thanks to the Dozier home run. 8 home runs. He has 12 RBIs now. Not a bad pitch, kind of a golf shot right here. Down. And Dozier making good contact right there, hitting it off the facing of the second deck.
Mauer takes a strike. Mauer singled and scored the first run back in the first inning.
First home run for the Twins over their last 5 ball games, so good to see the long ball come back.
This one drilled to left. Low, retreating near the track. And Mauer lines out for the first out. America's new sports network is the place to turn before every slam, every goal, and every game. With America's pregame on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Tune in to America's pregame weekdays at 5 p.m. Central only on Fox Sports 1. Find Fox Sports 1 on your cable satellite provider. Go to foxsports1.com. Trevor Plouffe took a pitch up and away and drove it hard to the gap in right center field. That scored Mauer from first base, and the Twins had the first lead. 1 strike. When you have a team that collectively is struggling offensively, and I think it's fair to say that that's been the case with the Twins since they've returned home. On the ground, backhanded by Hardy. Low throw and a shot right past Pierce, and it goes into the camera well, and Plouffe will go to second base.
Well, Hardy, who has not committed an error yet this year, went to his right, set himself to throw, but the short hop to Pierce will give him his first error of the year. See, that ball landed right there. Normally first basemen would catch that right off the tip of his glove. It wasn't really a short hop like we saw, the other day with Mauer. That's a tough play, but that one I think that Pierce probably would say I should have caught that thing. But it's Hardy that gets the error.
Colabello will hit. Struck out his first time up. Usually when a first baseman misses that low throw that skips, they miss it with the ball going under or over the glove. Here, just like he missed it laterally.
That error right there, that's only the 13th for the Baltimore Orioles. Toronto Blue Jays come in with the fewest errors with 10. Twins fourth in the American League as far as fewest errors with 16.
Shades of spring training lately for the Twins. They're now 1 for 28 with men in scoring position, and Colabello has the hit, and it was that little number against the Dodgers that still didn't drive in the run. Let's see if he can deliver a hit here and get the pendulum swinging back the other way. Strike 1 and 2.
Same pitch that struck him out. So they're going hard in on him, and then I think what we've seen Chris when he's struck out, it's that fastball away. So the clubs are doing a good job of working on both sides of the plate.
Well, I'm taking the blame for his slump because I was the guy who went and asked him about using that one bat. He said he'd only broken one bat late in the last road trip. I think he's broken 4 of them since I asked him about it. And now 2 and 2. So it's on me.
No, it's not. It's on Chris. It's on the pitchers making good pitches.
2 and 2. Back to the pitcher. And Colabello retired for the second out. And that'll bring up Kubel.
And that's what you want to do as a pitcher right there. Exactly what Chin did. Feel of the ball, looked at second base, make sure that Plouffe was not going to go anywhere, and then get the out at first.
A revised shift for the Orioles. Hardy playing kind of behind the second base bag. He has been over on the other side of second base, but with a runner at second. A semi shift for the Orioles against Kubel. Breaking ball, tapped foul, a strike.
Yeah, I think Jason's going through that little spell too. Like that breaking ball is just missing, and he's striking out a lot. 31 times now in 92 at bats for Kubel. He's driven in 13 runs. He missed a pitch in his first at bat that he kind of followed the ball back to the screen like, come on, I'd like to have that one back.
Swing and a miss. 0 and 2.
Good fastball, great location at 91.
With the outfield injuries, Kubel getting a chance to play in the field more than was anticipated. He was considered to be a sometime designated hitter.
I think he's done a great job in left field.
And the shift pays off for the Orioles, although Hardy bobbles it and a better throw this time. The semi shift keeps the Twins from scoring another run. They did get the go-ahead run on Brian Dozier's 8th home run of the year. Twins in front 2-1. Owning Twins season ticket provides a lot more than a guaranteed seat. Season ticket holders get a variety of benefits, starting with 2014 All-Star Game ticket purchase priority. Call 800-33-TWINS. Visit twinsbaseball.com. There's a season ticket plan for every fan. J.J. Hardy takes strike one. It'll be Hardy, Pearson, Lowe in the fourth inning. No breathing room per se, but another lead for Kevin Correa, 2-1. Down the middle, a strike 0-2.
Correa with 3 strikeouts, all of them coming in the second inning. He's given up 4 hits. All the hit singles.
Out in front and a pop up to short left. Florimon calling for it, now giving way to Fold. One away.
Isn't that nice to see that outfielders need sunglasses? Saw Florimon looking up at the sun.
I said the other day I got a new pair of sunglasses I want to try
Yeah,
out, so I
where are
brought
they?
them out and left them at home.
Well, that's good.
Nice.
It's a good spot
Do
for
me a
him.
lot of good for him.
I thought of that when I was driving over and I put my sunglasses on. I was looking forward to seeing your new sunglasses.
Well, you can see him in Cleveland.
Bring them tomorrow.
Cleveland or Detroit.
Bring them tomorrow.
You're not going to Cleveland or Detroit, are you?
No. I'm doing 100 games, so I get to pick the ones that I don't want to do. And Jack, Jack Morris is going to join you.
I'm looking forward to working with Jack.
He's pitched in Cleveland. He pitched in Detroit.
So did you.
Only in Cleveland.
Well, you pitched in Detroit.
Well, not poor.
Right. And that's your excuse for not going?
I got to go work on my golf game.
They have golf courses in Cleveland and Detroit. 2-0. Tap foul.
But I will be back here when you come back.
Okay.
Actually, I'm coming back a day early to play in the Minnesota corporate golf tournament. Looking forward to that.
So that's why you have to work on your golf game, because you got a big corporate golf tournament.
Yes, when we come back, yes.
2-1. Fold chasing this one towards the gap. Slams on the brakes, makes the catch out number 2. I wouldn't serve you or the Twins very well to have a group of people paying a lot of money to play golf with you, and your golf game is in a state of disrepair, and then you start throwing your clubs and breaking them over your knee and things like that.
I leave that for somebody else that's listening right now.
Two down, and here's David Lowe.
Correa needs a 1-2-3 inning right here.
I thought he might be on his way toward one in the third inning, but then a couple of soft singles extended the inning through the Clevenger at bat. Down and in, ball 1.
Twins give you the lead again. You'd like to go out there, shut the door. And that's what Correa is going to try to do right here. Had a 1-2-3 first. Orioles scored 1 in the second. Then Correa worked out of a jam in the third.
From Kansas City's perspective, they liked what they saw of Lowe, but they did not like what they saw from Mike Moustakas against left-handed pitchers. And so they felt they needed a right-handed hitting complement to play third base, and that's why they were interested in Danny Valencia. They had to give up Lowe to get him. Lowe takes a ball. Lowe 3-0 with Scope next.
Yeah, for some reason, great. Now 7 for 9 lifetime against Kevin Correa. Good pitch right there. Lower part of the strike zone. Just a bit low.
And now a strike, 3-1.
And it always happens. Somebody has, very good numbers against you. Kevin Correa knows, that he was 6 for 8 coming into the ball game. And then you find yourself in this count all the time. Why is that? Couldn't be 0-2. It has to be 3-1 to a guy that has had good success. Now pop it up. There you go.
Florimon.
See, he's due to make it out.
A 1-2-3 fourth for Kevin Correa. And a lot of runs in April, and now struggling a little bit over the last few games.
Yeah, I think Zach Greinke put him into a little bit of a slump, and then Dan Herron followed. He pitched outstanding. Remember Red Patterson making his rookie debut, pitched against him. And then Jimenez last night did an outstanding job. So good pitching will put you in that little mini slump. But the Twins looking to get back into the win column here this afternoon.
Josmil Pinto will lead off the bottom of the fourth, and he takes ball one. You know, and you're right. You were talking about this business of hitting with men in scoring position. It does kind of go in streaks one way or the other. Twins did a nice job of it in April. I think Jeff Nelson a little something in his eye. And now this 1-for-30 skid with men in scoring position. Remember last year the Cardinals were just unbelievable with men in scoring position, and now they're a very run-of-the-mill lineup because they haven't done well with men in scoring position.
Yeah, Cardinals playing at .500, but the Milwaukee Brewers, what a story they have going over there. 21-9 coming into today's play, playing .700 baseball.
1-2 to Pinto.
Yeah, Pinto's right now 0 for his last 15 at bats, so he needs a little hit here. Get it turned around.
1-2.
Fastball up and in.
Cardinals averaging less than 4 runs per game. 2-2. Fouled back.
I think as the weather gets warmer, you're going to see clubs, try to, get to where they're supposed to be. Cardinals will be in the race at the end. Always are.
And now 3-2.
Good take right there by Pinto.
And he hasn't done much hitting lately. He also hasn't done much walking lately. Seeing a lot of pitches in this at bat. We'll see how it concludes here. That's a strikeout. And Pinto running toward first. And Clevenger with a throw to first and some fancy footwork by Steve Pearce to record the out. The ball sailed over Pinto's head into foul territory, and Pearce was able to switch from his left foot being on the bag to his right.
Yeah, the ball just didn't roll far enough away to allow Pinto to beat it out. Ball in the dirt, gets away from Clevenger. He pops on it, bare hands it, and throws it on the over the head of Pinto. Pearce able to keep his foot on the bag.
Suzuki cracked a double, ground rule double, into the bullpen with 1 out in the second. 1 strike. And now 2 strikes.
75 pitches for Chen with 1 out here in the 4th inning. Good strike to ball ratio, just a lot of pitches in a short amount of time. 3 strikeouts, no walks. .24 pitches in the first, 22 in the second, 20 in the third. An average what you'd like between 13 and 16 pitches an inning, and sometimes you need a 9 or an 8 like Nolasco did last night to allow you to go deep into the ball game. Some quick outs. There it is right there. 10 so far this inning.
Foul ball. Pierce has no play.
Chen making his 61st major league start. 22-19 in his career as the Oriole, as an Oriole. 4.07 ERA. No complete games. Over his career coming into today's play, averaging 2.5 walks per 9 innings and just over 7 strikeouts per 9.
And Pierce will have a play on this ball in fair territory. Out number 2. Before Folds at bat, join Fox Sports North for a new installment of Baseball in the Dominican. As we take a look at Twins Dominican shortstops, past and present. Go to the hometown of former Twins All-Star Christian Guzman. Visit current Twins shortstop Pedro Floromon and see the roots of what made him such a great defensive player, and get updates on Jorge Polanco and Danny Santana, just called up today. Pair of shortstops in the Twins farm system. It's Wednesday, May 7th at 9:30 p.m. only on Fox Sports North. 2 down, Sam Fuld, strike 1.
Fuld looking to bunt right there. Machado in on the grass, but really giving a lot of the third baseline to Fuld.
Just off the corner, 1-1. Way out in front of a off-speed pitch. 1-2.
Game number 9 for Sam Fuld as a Twin. Came into the game hitting .323 in a Twins uniform.
3 hops to the second baseman scope, and a 1-2-3-4 for Wei-Yin Chen. Pepsi fans of the game. So many youngsters here. I had a chance to meet a couple of them before the game today, being at a Twins game for the first time. And well, it brings back memories, at least for me, when you see the, happens to be cap day today, when you see the excitement in a young boy or girl's eyes when they're here for the very first time. Popped up backing out of play.
A little kid right there. Look at that. First time probably had cotton candy.
Well, I don't know about that, but I bet it's the first time at a ball game, maybe.
Yeah.
right now more interested in the cotton candy than the ball game.
For sure.
Not many people know there's a lot of vitamins in cotton candy. Did you know that?
A lot of sugar.
Up and away, 1-1.
That'll keep them awake. And you can't go wrong with a hot dog. Oh, look at that little ketchup, mustard.
You know, I think you walk into the Kansas City ballpark, the same entrance I do. There's a high fly to right. Carrying back, Colabello making the catch on the warning track. And there's a sign that's been hanging there in the entrance I use anyway. It's a Humphrey Bogart line. A hot dog at a ball game is better than a steak at the Ritz. And
that's so true.
It's most of the time true. There's a time when a steak is pretty good, but a hot dog at a ball game is pretty good too. Scope retired, 1 away. And that'll bring up Nick Markakis. Markakis with a fly to center and a ground ball to second. Fox Tracks presented by Jeep. So far, so good for Correa against Markakis. He's gotten them twice. And there's strike one. There's a drive to right center field. Headed for the gap. One hops the wall, and Markakis gets a double in his third at bat. Now 1 for 3 against the Twins today.
His 5th double of the year. First extra base hit given up by Correa. Like Dozier when he hit the home run, kind of golfed it out. And right here, that ball down and in where lefties like it. And Markakis just dropping a barrel of the bat, and the ball going all the way to right center. One hopping the fence. And Bull gets it back in.
So far, Correa's been playing pepper with Manny Machado. A couple of comebackers. Machado 0 for 2. And having said that, now I'll bet you I have inadvertently talked over the heads of most of our young viewing audience.
What is pepper?
What is pepper?
Yeah, I was talking to Tom Bernansky yesterday about that, about how we always used to play pepper. You know, I'm behind. You can't play anywhere now near the field, but you could always play out in the outfield.
Right.
And it's just one guy with a bat and 3 or 4 guys. We used to play flip.
Bouncer to short. Florimone gobbles it up.
Where it's a form of pepper, but if you get the ball, you flip it to the guy to your left or right. And
okay.
Kind of keep the ball going. Whoever drops it, it's a point against them, and you have to serve drinks after the game is over with.
Oh, really?
Soft drinks in the clubhouse.
All right, so in terms of honing your highly developed baseball skills, did it do any earthly good at all?
Yes, it did. It's a good coordination drill to catch the ball and then to flip it, and kind of like Dozier. I bet you he played a lot of pepper the way he can flip it out of your glove.
I bet you he's never played a game of pepper in his life.
I bet he has.
All right, we'll ask him tomorrow.
Okay.
I would think for you, in those occasions when you might have been the guy with the bat.
No, I didn't get the bat.
No, but I mean, I could see where it would be.
You have to make contact.
I can see where it could make some, help you with your hand-eye coordination, making contact with the bat for somebody who might want to bunt.
Right. But I think of Pepper. I think of Willie Stargell, because he would do it just with his right hand, about a 40-ounce bat, and play pepper just to turn his wrists around.
2-0 to Nelson Cruz, tying run at second, 2 down, and now inside 3-0.
Well, you see the old-time films of guys playing pepper. If you ever see the, some of the old-time, they had fun with it.
3-0 to Nelson Cruz. Popped up, got green lighted, and he sent it high back into the seats.
I know a lot of people don't remember Jimmy Reese, but he could hit a fungo. He had a bat that was cut in half. Jimmy Reese was the strength and conditioning coach at 90 years old for the Angels. And he was Babe Ruth's roommate at one time, he says. We said he roomed with Samsonite. But he would hit fungos to us out in the outfield, the pitchers. And unbelievable. That's good memories that I have of a great man, Jimmy Reese.
To center, and Fold is going to run back, trying to get this one, and makes a catch on the track. A one-out double does no damage. Bottom of the 5th will be highlighted by Brian Dozier. Whether he played Pepper or not, he's going to hit second in the bottom of the inning.
One more middle of the Minnesota State Lottery winner's circle, $100 in scratch-off tickets here for this great sign, Bert. Look at this. Not only is Caleb, hold him up right there, 6 months today, but the anniversary for Mike and Heather from Lester Prairie. They're huge Twins fans. In fact, when Heather was pregnant, she heard the name Caleb Thielbar on a Twins broadcast and said, that's what my boy's going to be named. And Mike, how about this weather for your 2-year anniversary? And now you get Bert, the old Hall of Famer, circling you.
Oh, it's great. We love it out here. We were here opening day, and there's just nothing better than Twin Stadium.
We're looking for a win, and we're looking for Caleb Thielbar to make some kind of impression along the way in honor of this little guy.
Yeah, thank you, Kevin. I think Kevin been rooting for the Wild a little bit too much.
Vocal carryover from the celebration after the win over the Avalanche.
Yeah, I know the Wild lost last night, but you know what? Game 2 is tomorrow, and go Wild.
Now, should we be hurt? Because if they were watching the Twins telecast and they heard the name Caleb Thielbar, they probably also heard the name Bert Blylev and Dick Bramer, and yet they named the child after Caleb Thielbar, not after you or me.
I think that's great.
So we shouldn't be hurt.
Not at all.
All right. Bouncer. Machado backhands it. Fires across. Look at that arm. My goodness, one away. With one out in the 5th, Brian Dozier will hit for the 3rd time tonight. In his 2nd time, he hit his 8th solo home run of the year.
Yeah, Dozier, again, 8 home runs. He led the club last year with 18 home runs, and here it is, May 3rd, and he already has 8 this year. Just need to get some guys in the bottom of the lineup to get on so he can hit something other than a solo home run.
And Dozier takes a strike at the knees. Yeah, I got home in time to watch the end of the hockey game last night. Looked like the Wild were going to pull out game 1.
Yeah, they fought back, tied it at 2.
Kind of what they did in the Avalanche series. This one bunted in the air, fouling out of play. And most everyone here that we come in contact with, the press box level, very engaged in the series and cheering for Minnesota, except Corey Provis, the radio play-by-play guy. He grew up in Chicago, grew up a Blackhawk fan, so we'll give him a pass on that, I guess. Yeah. Inside 1 and 2. Lavelle Neal, the outstanding writer for the Star Tribune, the president of the Baseball Writers Association of America, also a Chicago native, big Blackhawk fan. It'll be a tough play. Machado playing a deep third, barehanding it and throwing it wildly. And Dozier quickly trying for second base. And he's in safely.
That is a good heads-up play by Brian Dozier right there. Now Clevenger, the catcher, he's hustling to try to back up the play too, but Machado has only one play. You see how deep he is. He barehands it, but the throw a little bit one hops, gets away, and Dozier alertly took the chance, and it was a good chance. Watch Dozier right here, hustling down the line, and picks up the ball right away.
And if you're going to make that move, you better make it definitively and immediately. He was able to get to second base. Be another Baltimore error charged this time to the other infielder on the left side, Machado on the throw. And Mauer will be at the plate with Dozier in scoring position.
Yeah, Dozier does get an infield base hit and then the error allowing him to go to second.
Twins in a deep funk with men in scoring position. 1 for the last 30, and even that one hit didn't drive in a run.
And this is where I think Joe sometimes getting a little bit frustrated by the question. Joe, you've only driven in 7 runs. Over the past, he's always been good, but right now he's struggling in situations like this. But here again, it's early May. See if he can get a big hit right here. Put the Twins up by 1 more.
2-0.
Joe's driven in 7 runs, and 3 of them came in off of that 3-run home run he hit. He'd like to pick up a hit here, drive in his 8th run, hopefully.
(2-0) to Mauer. There is a base hit to left. And Dozier's going to be waved around. The throw from David Lowe cut off, and there's a hit with a man in scoring position. And another run for the Twins.
Mauer picking up his 2nd hit of the ball game. Again, good base running by Dozier because he saw that where Machado was playing, that ball was hit that way, and Dozier took off. Once he saw that ball was on the ground, he took off right there, hesitated just a second, but then Joe Vavra said, let's go, score, hustle, and he does. Twins lead 3-1.
Mauer with 2 ground ball singles to left and a line out to left. Here's Plouffe, has reached both times. An RBI double in the first, reached on a Hardy error in the third. Big swing and a miss. When the Twins added Paul Molitor to the coaching staff, and it was told that Paul was going to help with the base running, certainly one area of concern in this 3-year drought, 3-year period of bad baseball the Twins had fallen into right off the end of the bat. And the word was Paul was going to help with base running, and I think specifically with Plouffe and Dozier we've seen improvement in that area. But you don't understand. I mean, you need an inning like this maybe to remind yourself how important base running is. If Dozier doesn't immediately advance, take the extra base, he's stuck at first. There's a called third strike. Plouffe is the 2nd out of the inning, and we'll bring up Colabello. And Dozier, as he goes down to first, takes one quick glance and immediately goes to second. Now, we had a play here against the Dodgers, actually 2 plays, one involving Chris Colabello where he came back. Yasiel Puig just showed some minor, brief, split-second intent to go to second, and he was tagged out. And
I like the look on Puig. Like, what happened?
He didn't step across the baseline. There's a foul. I checked with Scotty Alger, and the way I was taught when I was growing up is if you make any motion at all towards second base, the umpire deems that as a intent. And that's exactly what happened to Puig. He didn't cross the baseline. He didn't take a step. He just kind of rotated his shoulders a little bit, and the umpire said that was enough to betray intent. But in Dozier's case, now we just saw him take a look over his right shoulder and immediately go to second and force an off-target throw.
Brian Dozier gives Paul Molitor a lot of credit, and he's one of these guys. You know, you come to play hard every day, and what are you going to have? Maybe 4 at bats, maybe 5. He's a leadoff hitter. You hustle out of that batter's box, and that's what allowed him to get to second base, and also it made Machado try to hurry his throw a little bit because the guy's hustling down the line. Shades of Pete Rose when Pete played the game.
1-1 to Colabello.
And that's why this ball's foul. That's why Bryce Harper was taken out of the game, because Matt Williams, the manager, says, we don't play that type of game here. Don't run halfway and come back to the dugout. Run all the way through the bag hard. That's the way the game should be played. People pay good money to see a hustle.
1-2.
Chris needs to square up on one. He did there, but hit it foul.
Pitches for Wei-Yin Chen. Orioles came into the game with just 12 errors. They've committed 2 here, and their usually reliable left side of the infield has each committed 1. Brad Brock just called up after the exhausting doubleheader in Baltimore, warming up in the Baltimore bullpen. 1-2 to Colabello, and another strikeout. It'll end the inning. Twins got a couple of hits to get another run. The key might have been Dozier's hustle, advancing from first to second. Photos from this weekend series against the Orioles now on FoxSportsNorth.com. And after the game, read reaction from the clubhouse and Tyler Mason's analysis.
Well, another important inning for Kevin Correa, who has 80 pitches going into the 6th inning. Twins just put another run on the board. Up by a couple.
Adam Jones leading off the 6th against Correa. Breaking ball, snaps over, strike 1.
Pretty nice trade for the Orioles when they traded Eric Bedard back in 2008 to get this guy right here.
At the time, he was a prospect, but you never know how those are going to turn out. The Orioles had to show some patience with Jones. and he has developed as a player, but matured personally, and kind of been a leader in the clubhouse, and he's been everything that the Orioles could have imagined when they acquired him. Wrapped to third. Kloof gets a second hop. Over to Mauer, one away. For Clevenger's at bat, a reminder that Target Field is the place to spend time with the people most important to you. Groups of 25 or more are eligible for discounts on tickets and don't have to pay handling fees. Organize your group today. Check out twinsbaseball.com/groups or call 800-33-TWINS and ask about a Twins Target Field group outing. Twins will head out of town after the game tomorrow. Most of us will be in Cleveland. There's Clevenger bunting foul, and then most of us will. What's that?
Are you packed?
Why do you care? You're not going.
But I'll be watching.
Then it's 3 in Detroit. And then there's an off day on the 12th, and then the Twins come back to host the Red Sox and the Mariners. 1 strike to Clevenger, 0 for 2 on the afternoon. And I am looking forward to working with Jack Morris as we officially welcome him to Twins television. He's been doing some great work in the pre and post game show.
Good to have him on our team.
1-2 to Clevenger. And Jeff Nelson coming out to talk with Suzuki. I believe the count is 1-2, and that's what Jeff Nelson is explaining to everybody. That was nice. He went in front of home plate to make sure Suzuki knew the count. Talked with him, even though the scoreboard here said 2-1. Then he gave the gesture to everybody. Now it's 2-2.
He's raising his hands right there, 2-2. Or just saying peace to everybody.
Calling a victory for somebody.
Yep. So far, so good for Kevin Correa.
That's to center, and Fuld trots after it. Makes the catch, out number 2. You talked about it before, and it's been a staff-wide problem, giving up big innings and having mushrooms or innings mushroom out of control. And really, a couple of times it could have happened to Correa in the second and third inning, but he limited the damage to just 1 run and scattered most of the rest of the hits. 2 down.
And there's been a long break between Correa on the mound because of the rainouts. Last time he pitched was April 25th here against the Tigers, when he got beat up in 2 1/3 innings. That's the most runs he had given up, the 8 runs since 2011.
1-0.
So you rebound. He has enough quality starts, major league starts, to know what he needs to do.
Popped straight up in the air, but backing out of play, which I guess means it was not hit straight up in the air. If it were hit straight up in the air, it would come down and land on home plate. My bad. 1-1. Breaking ball to the gap in right center. Fuld chasing it down on the warning track. He's shown great range back, forward, left, and right since taking over in center field.
Presented by Toyota. Let's go places. To find your nearest Toyota dealer and check out our current offers, visit buyatoyota.com. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us.
After Ricky Nolasco pitched a complete game last night, it looks like Kevin Correa is done after 6. Phil Hughes joining a conversation with pitching coach Rick Anderson.
Correa with 91 pitches.
Jason Kubel will lead off the bottom of the 6th.
Only 35 pitches needed over the last 3 innings.
Ball 1 to Kubel. Has been called out on strikes and hit a ground ball to short.
Well, Chen out there for his 6th inning of work. That was pitch number 102.
Driven to the corner in right and foul. One of the few times Jason's made solid contact in the last several games.
Correa, there's the 35 over the last 6 innings at 91.
I will say this, though. There's no activity in the Twins bullpen, so maybe we misinterpreted.
Let's hope so.
Another one, Tapper foul. I mean, nobody's warming up. And so generally when we've seen Rick Anderson engaged with the pitcher having an extended conversation, it's the end of the rope.
Didn't see any handshakes, though. So
yeah, okay.
We should be okay.
1 and 2.
Good. I was going to get mad.
I think
I don't need to be mad anymore.
The veins were sticking out of your neck.
I was thinking
there.
91 after 6. He's rolling good. Don't do that.
1 and 2 to Kubel. See, I think right now the Orioles should get whistled 2 minutes for too many men in right field. 3 and 2. Second baseman Jonathan Scope is in short right field. You can't do that, can you? In hockey, too many men on the ice, it's 2 minutes. And Kubel takes a walk to start the 6th inning.
Well, the first walk for Chen in the ball game.
That'll bring up Josmil Pinto.
Buck Martinez gave him that opportunity to face Kubel, but he walked him, and he'll be coming out of the ball game. Buck Sherwalter.
Chen will leave with 3 runs allowed, and the leadoff man on in the 6th. Josmil Pinto will hit after a Baltimore pitching change. Numbered innings, I should say, trying to score in an even numbered inning. Brad Brock, who was called up after the exhausting doubleheader the Orioles had at Camden Yards on Thursday, gets a chance to come into the ballgame here in the 6th.
Yeah, those numbers right there when he was with the Padres last year. Brock getting traded over from the Padres to the Orioles in November over the winter. Scatter report on Brock: fastball in the low 90s, split finger, and a slider.
Pinto with a foul out to first and a strikeout. Kubel drawing a leadoff walk. Down and away, ball one.
Fastball at 93. Chin going 5+ innings. 3 runs, 2 earned, and the responsibility of Kubel at first base.
That one hits the corner, 1-1.
Brock at 6'6", 215.
Swing and a miss.
Kind of a crossfire type of delivery. Working off the third base side of the pitching rubber. I like that. I don't still know why so many right-handers work off that first base side.
Fouled off of
It's got to be tough to pick up if Brock at 6'6" can get that ball down and away. It comes at an angle. Working off that side, you see he steps across his body a little bit, but good follow through, brings that right leg through.
Blocked by Clevenger.
Brock, 28 years old, from Freehold, New Jersey. Signed by the Padres in 2008, their 42nd round pick.
Pinto with a foul tip. Clevenger hangs on. Second time this afternoon that Pinto has struck out. That'll bring up Suzuki.
Oh, fastball right here. And Pinto just looked like he foul tipped it right into the glove. If he made contact.
Suzuki drove a double into the warning, or into the bullpen off the warning track in left center field his first time up. Then popped up down the right field line to Pierce. At the knees, a strike. Twins taking on a Baltimore team that right now is leading the American League East, half game ahead of the Yankees. And 48 hours ago they were at 500. Fouled back, and that's kind of the story in baseball, with the exception of some teams like Oakland off to a really good start. In Detroit, at least in the American League, if you can stay at 500, just have a good week, you can climb to the top of your division. And right before our doubleheader, before Baltimore's, each team was at 500. And the only difference is the Orioles have won 3 straight, and the Twins have lost 3 straight since then. Two strikes to Suzuki. Twins trying to do something with the leadoff walk they were given. Hit hard to center. Jones going back. Still going back. Makes an over-the-shoulder catch. And Kubel has to retreat.
A 3-time Gold Glove winner makes it look easy at times. Oh, hit hard right there by Suzuki. Second time he's made very good contact. He had a double in his first at bat. And Jones, good concentration, picking up the ball. And has to reach up right here. At least he's not blowing a bubble. Right in the center of the glove.
Here's Fold. Outside, ball 1. Lost a ball game last night 3-0, leading 3-1 here today. Fold fouling it over the tarp. 1-1. One and one to the Twin center fielder. Popped up near the Oriole dugout. And Clevenger with the catch. And that wraps up the 6th inning. Good inning for Brock. The Twins leave Kubel at first. In front 3-1. The Grand Casino story of the game.
Yeah, good. So far so good for Kevin Correa. 6 very good innings. He did allow a run in the 2nd inning. That tied the game at 1 apiece, but all in all, a lot of fly ball outs. Look at the Twins right there in the 1st inning. It was Trevor Plouffe's RBI double that scored Joe Mauer. Twins added another run thanks to Brian Dozier's 8th home run of the year. That coming in the 3rd inning. And then in the 5th inning, an RBI single by Joe Mauer scoring Dozier, who scored for the 28th time this year. And this is the Twins' 28th game. That's the most in the American League.
Leaving him on a pace for
only 162 runs.
Steve Pearce leading off the 7th against Kevin Correa. The first pitch head high, ball 1.
I've said it before. Correa knows. He's probably seen the scoreboard. 91 pitches. Unless he has, maybe a 6 or 7 inning inning, this might be it for Correa. So see what's left in the tank and let it fly.
Another pitch left up, fouled back to the screen. 1-1.
Correa's longest outing was 7 innings this year. That came in his 3rd start against the Kansas City Royals. Got a no decision in that ball game.
One and one. Out in front of the breaking ball, popped up behind 3rd. Plouffe in foul ground with the catch, 1 away. Take a look at some news and notes in Major League Baseball. John Lester with a good one. 15 strikeouts against a good Oakland ball club. Junior Lake with a triple and a home run. Cubs picking up a win over the Cardinals. David Lowe, a single and a pop-up. The Twins announced yesterday that they have made a change in their rotation, putting Mike Pelfrey on the disabled list today. Samuel DeDuno will make the start Tuesday in Cleveland. And what would be better for Deduno and the Twins than for Deduno to take the mound Tuesday with 4 really good starts leading up to his start Tuesday? If it's a new look rotation, you know, you can kind of maybe put a period at the end of the games and the doubleheader against the Dodgers and say, okay, we're starting over. We're going to do better with our second phase of our starting rotation. The ball hit to center, and Fold retreats a little bit. Correa's kept his outfielders busy, at least his center fielder. 2 down. That'll bring up Scope. MLB.TV Premium is the #1 streaming sports service in America, and it's celebrating 12 years in the business this year. Join the millions of subscribers who can watch every out-of-market game live in true high definition on more than 400 devices. Visit twinsbaseball.com to check it out.
Well, the thing about baseball, you can see guys warming up, Fiend and Thielbar in the bullpen. You got to forget about what happened, you know, your last time out and the month of April for the starters. You have to move forward. And Correa doing a good job. Now, a lot of his outs have come on fly ball outs. 13 fly ball outs for Correa here this afternoon. 5 ground ball outs to go with his 3 strikeouts, and all 3 strikeouts came in the second inning. But here he is, 1 out away from going 7.
There have been 9 outfield flies, 8 of them caught by Fold. Colabello caught one in the 5th. 2-0 to Scope. Wickedly foul.
Watch out.
Ball person down the line. Did not make the play, but did not get hurt.
Yeah, you know, you take that job, you think, okay, I'm okay, but you think maybe you'll get a ground ball or something. That was a liner.
Little 9
Get out of the way.
2-1. Three and 1. Markakis on deck. Correa well aware of where Scope is in the batting order. Doesn't want to walk him in front of Markakis. Florimo shuffles, fires.
All right, good.
Great 7th inning for Kevin Correa.
Is just what the doctor ordered when Nolasco went 9 innings, even though the Twins lost. Correa right there going over with Kurt Suzuki and also Rick Anderson, a pitching coach. But a good job, 102 pitches for Correa. 66 for strikes.
In game big box score. Twins getting some production from the top of the lineup. Dozier with a home run and another run scored. Bauer's driven in one, scored one. A 3-1 lead. Florimon will start the bottom of the 7th inning, and as we speak, there's still no activity in the Twins bullpen. Florimon 0 for 3, or 0 for 2 rather. He's put the ball in play twice, hitting it to Machado. Strike on the outside corner.
Well, maybe he's going out there for one more. It'd be nice.
And Florimon slaps a single to left. Florimon hitting from his preferred side and the Twins' preferred side. Gets a leadoff single in the 7th.
You always like to do something good against the organization that drafted you or made you a major league player or a professional player. The Orioles signed Florimon out of the Dominican Republic back in 2004. Inside out swing right there. Came to the Twins. He was selected off waivers by the Twins in 2011 during the winter.
See if the Twins move him here with Dozier at the plate. Not on the first pitch, and the pitch taken down and away, ball 1. Now there is some activity down in the bullpen, and looks like Casey Fiend is getting loose down there. Just barely getting back.
Yeah, quick throw right there by Bosch. Florimon with 4 stolen bases on the year. Oh, he thought about going right there. He's leaning towards second.
Buck Showalter is going to come out here, and I think he may consider appealing this pickoff move. And before any of that happened, Ron Gardenhire was appealing to Jeff Nelson, saying that the pitcher Brock had balked. Dealing with Marcus Patillo, the first base umpire. This is probably going to be the defining view. Florimon has been tagged before he got to the bag, so if they appeal it, they're not appealing. Watch his front knee, just a little bit of a shake. Now I'm surprised that they're not appealing this, because on our view it looked clearly like Florimon had been picked off. And I think the Twins, before Buck even came out of the dugout, were saying, well, hey, he flexed his left knee before he turned. Down and away, 2-0. Well, the angle we showed clearly and convincingly showed me that Florimon had been picked off. I'm wondering why the Orioles didn't go ahead and appeal it or ask for a review. There goes Florimon. Clevenger's throw, not in time. A stolen base with a head-first slide. Just barely a close play. Laz Diaz with the call.
Yeah, Florimon got a pretty good jump right there. Head down, head first slide. Bang bang tag. And a bang bang slide and a touch. Wow. Florimon gets a stolen base, his 5th of the year. And for the Twins, they're 21st. They've been caught only 4 times.
3-1 to Dozier, taking a strike. And a bouncer behind Joe Favre. Dozier showing his power with a solo home run. Bauer on deck. Also showing great base running instincts, advancing to second on an overthrow at first.
Let's see if he can move Florimon over to third. Tough on 3-2 pitch.
Heck with it. Just go ahead and drive him in.
And not going to drive him in. Got to get a base hit.
Good throw by Jones, and Dozier has his 3rd hit. The Twins have a threat building here in the 7th.
Just kind of reached out and softly poked this ball into right center. Another good at bat for Brian Dozier. Take a look at this pitch, down and away. Just kind of dropped the barrel of the bat, almost like, okay, I'm just going to take it the other way. Good piece of hitting.
Protecting the plate and making contact and being rewarded with a base hit. 1st and 3rd, nobody out. Bauer at the plate.
Another RBI situation for Joe. He picked up Dozier in the 5th inning with a base hit to left.
2 ground ball singles to left and a line out to left. Sailing wide, ball 1. Brock came in with a man aboard, nobody out in the 6th, and got the next 3 batters. Florimone punching a single to left. Dozier punching a single to right center. Nothing hit hard, but good chance for the Twins to expand a 3-1 lead. 2-0. High and deep to left. Going back is low at the fence. It's gone. Joe Bauer with a 3-run home run.
His 2nd 3-run home run of the year.
I'm not sure he hit that ball as hard as he hit the ball in the 3rd inning. With a little more loft and a 3-run home run.
Nicely done, Joe Bauer. His 2nd home run of the year. Came into the game with only 7 RBIs, and he's picked up 4 here this afternoon. On his 3rd hit of the game.
And now Plouffe. Ball 1.
And again, Brian Dozier scoring a run. That's 29 in 28 games. How many is that at the end of the year?
Oh,
Figure
more than
out.
162. (6-1) Twins in front. Foul back. 1-2. Bauer just the 4th Twin to hit more than 1 home run on the year. Colabello, of course, Dozier, and Pinto. This one headed back more in our direction.
Now at 29. In Major League Baseball, Brian Dozier has scored the most. Yeah, Bauer's other 3-run home run came here against James Shields when he hit the 3-run home run to right field.
Blue strikes out.
We've seen Joe, of course, a lot of his game is taking that pitch the other way, but that more of the uppercut swing that had that little extra air time to go out. We could say that was a beautiful swing, but we've said that 10 years ago, too.
I just find it interesting that here's Joe now with 3 hits today and 2 ground ball singles. The out was hit very hard. And what we've seen is Joe hitting to his strength, everything going to left field. And I just wonder whether a lot of the strikeouts and the sub 300 batting average that we've seen has been with Joe trying to do something that he just doesn't naturally do. It'd be nice if he did, but he doesn't. And now here's the batting average on the cusp of 300, and he's driving the ball hard again by hitting the ball to the opposite field.
Could be in the back of his mind, Justin's gone, Willingham's out of the lineup. You want to, produce more runs than he had. That could be part of it. Well, whatever his mindset was today, keep it that way.
1-1. Twins would like Colabello to have that game that maybe even it is just one at bat, something to get him back to close to where he was in April. 2-1. The comebacker and 2 swinging strikeouts so far today. Breaking ball over 2-2.
He must something wrong. I mean, even that pitch right there, he kind of backed away, and that was just a little slider that broke pretty much down the heart of the plate. They've been getting him out, down and away. And he fought that one off.
The Twins again without many other options, leaving Colabello in the middle of the lineup, and then look at Troy Patton warming up. 2-2. Up the middle and a little 5-hopper.
Maybe that's it.
A hit for Colabello. And now Buck Showalter's going to come to the mound, and with Kubel, the left-handed batter, coming in, it looks like, or coming up, it looks like Patton is going to come in.
A little quick trip to the mound by Buck Showalter.
Good inning for the Twins. 3 on the board already, and now Patton will come in to pitch to Kubel. And I'm guessing the father grinning from ear to ear because he's got a memorable keepsake from this game, a Joe Mauer 3-run home run that's given the Twins a 6-1 lead, and now Troy Patton comes in.
Yeah, Troy Patton this season was just starting right now. He's only worked a third of an inning, making his second relief appearance. He was on the suspended list at the beginning of the year because of some testing positive for banned amphetamines over the wintertime. So he missed the first 25 games for the Orioles. He apologized, and you move on.
Chris Herman pinch running for Chris Colabello with Kubel at the plate.
Patton, in his 5th season with the Orioles, came up with the Astros in 2007. One of the 3 left-handers out in that bullpen for the Orioles.
Wide of the plate, a breaking ball, 1-0. Kubel a walk, a strikeout, and a ground ball. One and one.
Patton fastball, slider, changeup. 28-year-old out of Spring, Texas. Scouting report says he has a very good pickoff move to first base, but Herman not with a big lead.
Down the right field line on a long run from Markakis. He's not going to get there. The ball drops safely, and Herman checks in at second base. Had to wait because it wasn't hit well, and it almost seemed like a balloon going out there to right field. It was in the air a long time.
It's hard too as a base runner. You talk to base runners, when a ball is hit like that, you know, you'd like to take that gamble and keep going, but kind of right off the end of the bat, Kubel gets his first hit of the ball game. And Markakis, a Gold Glove winner, gets over there quickly, but Herman does stop at second base. Good inning for the Twins so far. 5 hits in the inning. They scored 3 runs already.
See if Pinto can break some significant ice here in the 7th inning. Fox Tracks presented by Carrier. Over the mound. Out there, and a relay to first, a double play. Pinto bounces into a slow developing double play. But before all of that, Joe Mauer hit his second 3-run home run of the year. The Twins lead it 6-1.
America's studio. I'm Tom Hanneman with this update. It's playoff time, and we're bringing you the best coverage in the state of hockey with complete pre- and post-game shows for every Wild game. Our Game 2 coverage between the Wild and Chicago Blackhawks begins with a 1-hour pregame show tomorrow at 1 p.m. on Fox Sports North Plus. Then, immediately following the game, we'll bring you complete post-game coverage on Fox Sports North. Visit foxsportsnorth.com for complete schedule and channel listings. Let's head back to Dick and Bert.
Thank you, Tommy. 6-1, Twins in front, going to the 8th inning, and another nice job by a Twin starter. That's back-to-back really good starts. Kevin Correa yielding now to Casey Fiend.
Yeah, go Wild. I agree. Go Wild. Casey Fiend coming in for the 12th time, 3-0 out of the bullpen. Very good, 2.45 ERA, 6 hits allowed. That's all in 11 innings pitched with a couple walks and 9 strikeouts.
Nick Markakis, Manny Machado, Nelson Cruz will hit in the Baltimore 8th inning.
Fiend had a great year last year, is carrying it into this year. Came up with the Tigers in 2009, pitched for a little bit in 2009 and 10, but really didn't get a chance to show his stuff. He came over here He's had that opportunity, and he's run with it.
Outside, ball one.
Very aggressive type pitcher. You can see getting right back on that pitching rubber, looking for the sign. Let's go get in the box. Chris Herman taking over for Colabello at right field when he pinch ran for him.
Strike 1-1. Was 3 years ago today. You were away on your AARP sanctioned cruise. You weren't with the team. Francisco Liriano threw a no-hitter. Now, nothing that dramatic has happened here today or in this series. Here's a liner just out of the reach of Dozier. It's a base hit for Markakis. But a perfect time for Nolasco and Correa to do what they're supposed to do, which is pitch deep into a ball game.
Yeah, you know, that's all you want. In today's game, give me seven good innings, and that's what Kevin Correa was able to do today. And what's important is that when the Twins gave him that 2-1 lead, he went out and put zeros on the board. 4 times in 7 innings, had a 1-2-3 inning. Those are making a nice play. A lot of fly ball outs for Correa, but 7 very good innings.
Strike 1 to Manny Machado. Machado with a couple of comebackers and a bouncer to short. Swing and a foul. 0-2. Nolasco pitched a complete game. Casey Fiend was available yesterday, and so too would have Caleb Thielbar would have been available yesterday, but it was a wonderful effort by Nolasco to keep the bullpen idle. Only Logan Darnell warmed up yesterday. 2 strikes to Manny Machado. Foul to the screen. Oh, 0-2 to the Oriole third baseman. Fouled back. Machado might have had a pitch he could have handled there, but he didn't.
Yeah, Fiend kind of hung him a slider right there. I want to say happy 90th birthday to Sarah Herman. Got that from Mike Herman. Sarah, happy birthday. They're watching the ball game. Happy 90th birthday to you.
High and inside, 1-2.
Mike Herman, a traveling secretary for the Twins. When he sends a text, you better answer.
Unless you want a room by the elevator for the rest of the summer.
Or at another hotel somewhere.
Fouled back.
Machado just getting his feet wet. Only his 3rd game coming back. Had knee surgery back in October of last year. Tried to come back too soon and re-aggravated it.
Popped up right side.
Took a little something off that breaking ball.
Mauer with the catch. There are so many ways to explain how poorly the Twin starters have done over the years, and one of the ways, of course, is to show you the workload of the bullpen, and it's been an ongoing issue. And as well as they perform, look at what they've had to do. They've had to throw nearly 20,000 pitches since 2012. That's a lot of pitches.
That's a lot of pitches. Only the Colorado Rockies staff had to throw more.
Here's Nelson Cruz, and there is strike 1. Talking with Dustin Morse, the media relations director for the Twins. We're asking about, or I was asking him about the third deck home runs hit here, and we could only come up with 4, and Cruz has 2 of them. Corey Hart has 1, and Jose Bautista has 1. That might be 2. 1, 2, a double play and a good inning for Casey Fiend after the leadoff single.
Nice turn by Florimon, better turn by Dozier. Pitcher's best friend.
Baseball, Minnesota with a comfortable 6-1 lead here in the 8th. Stay with us directly after the game for Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink. We'll break down the 1-2 punch at the top of the order that's provided the offense today. We'll also take a look at Kevin Correa's quality start. A nice bounce-back effort for him. We'll go inside the clubhouse and hear from Ron Gartenhire. Gentlemen, can't find the voice, but certainly enjoying my first Twins game on the broadcast this season.
Good to have you aboard, yes. Kevin.
Good to have you back. Did a great job covering the Wild. Got him in the postseason. Nice going, Kevin.
Kurt Suzuki will lead off the 8th inning against Patton. Down and away, ball 1. Outside 2-0. Suzuki, Fold, and Florimon against Patton. Fouled back. 2-1.
Yeah, Suzuki in his first 3 at-bats, twice he hit the ball hard. That double that he hit in his first at-bat, then he popped up to third, and then he drove Jones all the way to deep center, where Jones made a nice over-the-shoulder catch in the 6th inning.
And a ground ball single up the middle. 3 at-bats with solid contact for Suzuki, so maybe the Twins team-wide are starting to break loose a little bit. Promised earlier in the game we'd have the AT&T fan photo of the game. Tweet a photo to #NorthFanPhoto for a chance to be shown in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by AT&T.
Rebecca?
Not sure how recent that picture is, but let's hope when we come back there are buds on the trees. It seems like everything is late this year.
Oh, I wonder why.
You know, I know, but I want to see leaves on the trees. I want to see green grass. I want to swat mosquitoes. Here's Fold. 1-0. That rolls away from the catcher, and Suzuki will try late to advance, and he's out.
Yeah, base running mistake by Suzuki.
He was looking through Fold, Nelson, and Clevenger, and never really got a good look at the ball.
You know, you're at first base and this ball gets away from Clevenger, and watch Suzuki's reaction, and then it's too late. Clevenger throwing to J.J. Hardy, and a quick tag by Hardy, and Suzuki's out, and he's going to have a little visit by Paul Molitor somewhere.
And a strike, 2-1. Well, I'm guessing Suzuki, as well as he's hit the ball, is going to be really frustrated with himself for the base running, but also the wild pitch on the strike 3 that eventually led to the Orioles run. Suzuki pretty tough on himself, blocking pitches in the dirt, and that was one that I know he felt he should have blocked on the strikeout that allowed the base runner.
That was tough, because if I remember right, that ball hit just to the right of the plate, or the left of the plate. And, you know, a breaking ball that had a lot of spin on it. And sometimes that doesn't always come right to you. It'll ricochet the other way. He's done a great job behind the plate.
Century linked to what's next. Phil Hughes had a great ball game here against the Tigers. And will face Miguel Gonzalez tomorrow.
I'd have to say in the rotation that now that Duduno, he can pick up some strikeouts, but probably Phil Hughes is the only one in the rotation that you could say that can maybe, you know, get some strikeouts in his outings. You know, Nolasco and Correa, they're more contact type pitchers, and also Kyle Gibson with that sinker.
I think it's safe to say that overall the Twins haven't gotten the results they expected from their starting rotation, and now they've made a change to Duduno in for Pelfrey. But one thing too we haven't been able to say over the last 3 years, there's some guys coming. Alex Meyer and Trevor May are doing well at AAA, and they're both strikeout pitchers. Florimon lifts one high and deep to center, and Jones all the way out to the wall makes the catch. To the ninth, and the Twins have a 5-run lead. Good ball game for the Twins. Didn't score a run last night. Joe Mauer has driven in 4 runs, 3 hits. Let's get you caught up with what's happened here today.
Oh, Twins took an early 1-0 lead. It was in the bottom of the first inning. Trevor Plouffe RBI double. Kevin Correa 7 outstanding innings, no walks, 3 strikeouts. All 3 strikeouts coming in the second inning. Dozier with his 8th home run. That coming in the third inning made it a 2-1 ball game. And then Mauer's big 3-run home run in the 7th inning opened the game up to a 6-1 Twins lead.
Jared Burton will pitch to the middle of the Baltimore lineup, starting with Adam Jones.
Yeah, Burton 12th appearance. He worked both ends of that doubleheader in game 1 and game 2. See the walks, 9 walks in 10 1/3 innings.
First a statement and then a question, because I'm puzzled. We've got roughly the same weather conditions, wind conditions anyway, that we've had for most of the games. And yet, not so much Mauer's home run, although that certainly carried farther than I thought upon point of contact. But now Floramone's drive to the center field fence, for some reason, the ball is really carrying today. And we got the wind that's coming in from the, well, now I guess it's blowing out towards left field.
Yeah, but there's kind of a channel or a swirl sometimes.
I know, but I guess the point is here, it's the 5th year of the ballpark, and I can't figure it out. Backhanded by Floramone. Beautiful play, 1 down.
You know, he made a nice play to end the 8th inning on that. Went to his right to turn that double play off the bat of Nelson Cruz. And right here, Floramone, if he could just hit 230, 240, this is why the Twins like him at short. Not only for his range, but also that arm he has. Nice play by Floramone.
1 down here in the 9th, and now Steve Clevenger. And I guess I'm frustrated with myself because this is the 5th year here, and I've seen just about every pitch of every inning from this chair, from this location. And at the start of the game, I can't tell from whether it's going to be one of the days. Here's the view I get. Lucky me. But until you see the ball travel from game to game, it's hard to tell whether it's going to be a good day for the hitter, as today appears to be, or not.
Don't lose any sleep over it.
I'm not going to lose any sleep over it, but I'm frustrated with myself.
Well, I think we've seen outfielders, you know, what were we the other day in that doubleheader Dodger game? Somebody hit a fly ball to right field, and they thought they were underneath it, and all of a sudden, they had to run toward first base to catch it. So it swirls in here a little bit.
Did you think Floramone's ball was going to hit out to the? I didn't either.
No.
2-1. This one lined to right. Herman snags it. Out number 2. Go back to our car soup trivia.
You'll be okay though.
And especially if I get this right, I'm saying it's Eddie Murray.
How about Boo Powell?
No, I feel better. I feel better.
Well, I can say I contributed to some of those. He got his first major league hit off of me.
Did he really?
Yeah.
And went on to get what, 3,200 more?
A lot of
like
them.
That? 2 outs. Here's J.J. Hardy. And Burton delivers strike 1. That's to the left field corner. Chased by Kubel. 1 hops the wall. Hardy's going to try for 2. And it is a 2-out double.
Hardy gets his second hit of the ball game. Looked like a breaking ball, or maybe that changeup left up. For Hardy, his 4th double of the year. Comes with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 9th inning. That might have been the changeup. Something just hung right there, and Hardy getting the barrel out quickly and pulling it right down that left field line.
Steve Pearce, the batter. 3 fly ball outs and a swinging strike 1.
One thing Burton's working on is that's keeping that left shoulder in. Has a tendency to fly open a little bit.
Half swing. How about it? Nope, says first base umpire Marcus Patillo.
Now, when you fly open, that means that your arm is dragging a little bit, which makes that ball kind of straighten out. Got to bend his back a little bit more once he releases that ball toward home plate. Kind of a stand-up thrower.
1 and 2.
That was better right there by Burton. Better follow through.
Twins fans standing now, hoping that Burton can finish off the ending to a 4-game losing streak at home.
And the beginning, hopefully, of a winning streak.
Down and away, 2 and 2. Call, third strike. And the Twins got a well-pitched ball game last night. Got an even better pitched ball game here this afternoon.
Kevin Correa needed that win, finally ending that long streak of winless streak. Good win for the Twins. Good win for Kevin Correa.
Jamie Hirsch, there's nothing wrong with the Twins in a well-pitched game, and a 3-run home run won't cure.
Smiles all around for Joe Mauer and company. We'll break down this big Twins win next on Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink. Talk about that 1-2 punch atop the Twins order and a quality start for Kevin Correa. Stick around for some player reaction and Ron Gardenhire's press conference next.